There was a boy who had just got into prison. Walking in with misery all over the boy's face, in the prison room, he seemed to a roommate jumped off the top bunk bed. He looked like he was in his 50s and had tattoos and scars everywhere where his skin was. You must be the new guy, huh? Don't worry, I won't bite. Oh, yeah, he will, the guard said, who locked the cell door outside. Wasn't asking you. Old guy had punched the cell door. Then the guy looked back and smiled to newbie. Sorry, I get easily excited. So, what's your story? Looking kinda infant to be sending in this extreme. The guy had walked around the boy and sat at his top bunk. What do I call you, Rumi? The man asked. The boy didn't say anything. Jesus effing Christ, you slow, ain't you? Boyard hesitated, but quietly muttered, It's Carl. I always loved that name. Carl. The guy drifted away for a split second, then, with fantasy blinding his eyes. And yours? The boy asked. I'm Anger. Excuse me? The guy had jumped off the top bunk bed and stood in front of Carl, and Carl had noticed the guy's number in his clothes, and the flaps of his right side chest pocket were blurry where he could make out 45. Carl had rubbed his eyes. I say it. It's Anger. Look, don't make me say about my name twice, alright? Or else I might have to rip your body apart. Okay, Carl said. No problem. As soon as Carl sat at his lower bunk, the guy had started to scream. With a flinch, Carl grimaced his face and stared at him and thought, the hell is wrong with this guy? Though he just stayed in quiet and did nothing. He was kinda in a state where nothing can surprise him. Old One kept screaming and ripped the pillow apart and stuffed some of it in his mouth. Then banged the door like a crazy champ. The guy wasn't playing around. Carl saw his neck was getting red, like a carrot. Carl thought that his roommate Anger ought to change his name. I'm gonna kill all of you! The sound of him screaming echoed in his head. That made Carl vague. He figured because he didn't have enough sleep. In the prison room, it had rumors about 45. Oh. Oh shit. In the prison, it had rumors about 45 that he is the worst one in the prison and he had killed thousands of people. But they say that he once was a warrior. At night, 45 would cry and laugh and started to express the worst wrath. Since Carl can't sleep, it didn't really bother them that much. I'm gonna kill every human being in this earth. Then the perpetual and primitive sound of lasted out of his opened mouth until it was dawn. Most nights Carl would lie awake and listen to the screaming of 45, occasionally muttering damaging curse words. Drifting away to the darkness again. The atmosphere that night and the sound of the gun shoot, stuffy air, screaming. I'm gonna kill you, the guy shouted. Gosh, that guy is sleepless. 45 had shook Carl in the shoulder urgently. Hey, he said. What? Do you know that feeling when you got blamed for everything? Carl had nodded. The idea brought waves of resignation. Since Carl got sentenced for decades, he decided he got nothing else to do besides get along with his roommate who wants to pulverize the universe. Listen to me. I am, Carl said. When I was little, my mom had dressed me like a doll and wouldn't let me cut my hair. She had put on oil that smelled like a lavender. When Carl was nodding along, he suddenly looked up 45 and opened his mouth in shock. How do you know that? Carl shouted. And then I made this imaginary friend that always said to me that he will always have my back. Dad had divorced with Mom because she was crazy, so I had no choice but to live with him. When I was 17, he blowed his goddamn head off with a gun. So my stepmother started to scream. They thought I killed him. Carl finished the last sentence from the story 45 was telling. Carl watched tears crossing down his roommate's cheek. Carl sighed and said to Anger, I'm sorry about what happened. Carl murmured quietly to Anger. 45 was still sobbing. A sight of 50-year-old man crying. What a view. That idea made Carl laugh. They talked for hours and hours. And next day, before breakfast, when Carl opened his eyes from snooze, he felt peace for once. He hadn't felt like that in years. Then the guard had called him out. What's the matter? Carl asked. You're out, judges decide, not guilty. What? Yeah, big day. Carl turned around to say goodbye to 45 and tell that he will pay a visit, still baffled. But there was no one in the room. Once there was no resentment in him, no resentment out. Where's 45? Carl asked. The guard looked at him as if Carl is crazy, as if he was crazy or stupid. The hell are you talking about? You're 45. He looked down his chest pocket and there it was, and it flaps up the pocket. 45.